What's up, everyone? It's time for the latest chapter review for Strike It Rich, and this is chapter 73 review, where our Pegasus, she's still got it. She's got it. I'm not worried about her. Everyone else is worried about her, but I'm not worried about her because this Floral Kudo woman, she's using a technique. This chapter is very fast-paced, very quick. The art is incredibly good, especially midway through the chapter, showing like Flora's like complete derangement, where she's like strip off the flesh to admire the white and stuff, and she's just completely like psychotic about it. But the art is definitely really good, as it always is. But this chapter can be summed up quite quickly. But I really like I like the character development that we're going through. Every time NOZOMI gets in a fight, there's some sort of character progression, some sort of development that happens, whether in her skills, whether in her mindset, whether her as a character. And that's why I always love watching NOZOMI fight. I think she's just straight up my favorite character in the series, which is good because she's our main character right there by Hina. And yeah, any of her fights just fascinate me and stuff like that. So we see that this technique where she's constantly like grazing them and like ripping almost the skin off, giving like these massive carpet burns, and there's like internal bleeding going on, like blood blisters and things like that sort of idea. And she's just like, strip off the flesh, get rid of the red so I can admire the white and all this. Even our old granny Morocco, she's not entirely sure what's going on, and she mentions this to the other fighter. I forget her name, but Hina remarks that it's like, oh, I think I figured it out. And she's like, what do you... Oh, really, young lady? What is it? And it's apparently a technique called Gua Sha, or Gua Sha. Now, this is where I looked this up just to be clear. I was like, okay, this is apparently a technique. It's even on TikTok. It's a Chinese folk remedy where you take a thin plate, usually made out of like sometimes like quartz or rose, like something that's like a hardened stone. But you can take a thin plate. There's many different schools of thought on it. But you basically scrape it along the body. It's sort of like a hard massage. Like if you've ever been massaged before, a real massage for someone who's never had a massage and doesn't do like a crap ton of yoga, it's gonna hurt to feel better. It's one of those, you gotta make it hurt to feel better, you know, sort of. I mean, like, it tastes awful and it works, like the Buckley's sort of slogan, right? And yeah, a massage hurts, and then it feels good because you've loosened up all those muscles, but it's because they're so knotted up in the first place, right? So Gua Sha is definitely a similar idea where you just press down and really scrape along the body. It's like a detox in a sense. And that's where it's like, well, her attacks are definitely much more like a super heavy impact version, but it's a similar concept. Because when they showcase what somebody's body looks after marks left by Gua Sha, I'm like, no. I looked that up. I looked up like today's Gua Sha. I looked up older Gua Sha and stuff like that. That looks like someone literally took off the first 3 layers of skin off of somebody's back. Which is what, obviously, Flora is doing to NOZOMI. But that's not what Gua Sha has ever done. So she's like, high impact Gua Sha, but it's the same marks. No, nobody's back looks like that after, just to make their skin look a little nicer. Like, fucking Jesus. Like, I know it's supposed to be manga, like we elevate it to like 11 or whatever like that, but normally, even in things like Baki and Kengan and Dragon Ball and all that stuff, is that they bring up, oh yeah, this is Gua Sha, like Superman syndrome, right? Like, that exists in our world, but not to like the Wakatsuki version of it. You know, it's been dialed up and molded to make it anime superpowers. In the same way, normally they have that explanation, like, this is an exception, and it's far greater than we've ever seen. In this case, it's just like, instead of saying, oh, it's Gua Sha, but she's modified it to completely scrape off more of the skin, like, instead of leaving it at the surface level, she's going deeper or whatever. Like, she mentions heavy impact Gua Sha, but the way the chapter goes makes it sound like Gua Sha, like that image of the back. I'm looking at it right now, and it's just like, yeah, no, nobody's back looks like that after a chiropractor or a Gua Sha fucking massage. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. Yeah, that's not what happens. Nobody looks like they fucking were in a house fire. So I'm just like, normally they say the realism of the real world technique, and then they say but they're employing that technique to be dialed up craziness. So that really took me out of the moment, because I'm like, there is no way. I thought for a second, well, wait a minute now. I don't know enough about this. I don't know about the culture and stuff like that. So maybe, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, maybe they did do this and they scraped off the first 5 layers of skin and thought it was an okay thing, for healing or something like that. But I looked into the history of it, and basically, no. So this is just misinformation. I was like, Normally they acknowledge that it's like, it's applied today in real world medicine. Dr. Hanafusa has dialed that shit up to 12, and then it's fantastical, then it's fantasy, then it's it's pseudoscience, right? It's science fiction, which I'm all good with. It's just this one really pulled me out. It's my one problem with the chapter, honestly. That's why I'm harping on it. Because the rest of the chapter is really good. It's sort of like, they took away the mystique of it, but still, it seems that her hands have the ability to scrape away the flesh, and she, as they go forward, it's sort of showing like multiple hands like woving in between and saying the one step is paring, shave it off nice and clean, and then pare the red and leave the white so she can admire the bones and all this, right? So Nozomi acknowledges that she can't really afford to take another hit. Our female Ben Hanafusa has acknowledged this, and she said, like, basically, my diagnosis is that, so they've come to the same conclusion as Hina has here on the sidelines, and Ichika's just like, so she's just trying to shave her down to the bone because she really likes that shit? He's like, yeah, I assume that's just because of her preference. That's why she does it. Strip the flesh to admire the bones. That's why she's bone shaver Flora sort of idea. And as I said, we get that beautiful shot. It's a really nice, like, detailed panel. And she goes absolutely crazy with the speed. Even Ichika's like, she's really big and bulky, but she's got this sprinter's build. She's accelerating like crazy. Nozomi, it's only because of her eyes. Those eyes are able to pull her through, as we know, like that fist eye level. She's able to dodge and weave each one, even though it's coming at her like crazy. And then she manages to dodge a hit, but then takes an elbow, because Flora's not just about shaving the bone. She's like, oh yeah, you're going to keep dodging me. Oh yeah, your eyes are doing that? Well, I'm going to give you a knock to the eye. You're so worried about these, you're not paying attention to this sort of idea, and boom, it's implied in the chapter that that's what she was going for, and everyone's really worried because now, one of her eyes isn't working and stuff like that. She's taking a massive gash to her eyelid, and it's like, without the eyes, this is going to be a serious problem. And even Anne brings up and says, with that much blood, there's no chance she'll be able to see out of her right eye that much at all. And that was the only reason she was dodging. We might have to end this fight before she seriously loses her life right now. She might get killed. And this is where, end of chapter, it's like, okay, what are we going to do about this? What's going on? And she's just like, it's crazy. This is going exactly what I wanted. I'm like, Nozomi, let's go. And I'm just here for it. And Karushi. Of course, Karushi's the answer. Karushi's always the answer. And it's just like, really? He's like, I do not recommend you doing this. Are you really sure about this? And we see that apparently she, Nozomi was freaking out, but she had an idea to fight while blindfolded. Probably so she won't rely on her fist eye, so she's not dependent on it, I'm assuming, is the reason. But I'd love to hear the reason, because Karushi's not good with this. And Karushi would be good with the idea of not relying on the fist eye so much, not relying on her eyes to win her battles, because what happens if she's blinded? What happens if she can't, gets injured or something like that? If your fighting style is based on one thing, and you can't keep up a decent fight without it, then what type of martial artist are you? So I like this end part of the chapter. Let's get this started quick before I talk myself out of it, sort of idea. And even Kirsch like, my students, I can't rear any of you in, you know what I mean? So I really like this. I think this is fantastic because I'm looking forward so much to chapter 74 to get more Karushi, obviously. But what is her game? As I said, easy explanation is she doesn't want to rely on her eyes. If her eyes are taken out, she wants to be able to fight without her eyes. And she wants to be able to fight high-level opponents without her eyes. Alright. But why would Kurushi be against this idea? That's curious. So, is that just build up for the next chapter? Or is there an actual fundamental difference? Is she not just trying to not rely on her eyes, but she's trying to do something different? Achieve something even higher? Maybe. We don't know, but I'm looking forward to it, is all I'm saying. So, let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, and subscribe. I like Chapter 73. I really did. Other than, as I said, like normally, even in all these fighting manga, in a lot of shonen manga and stuff, you know, when they bring up a real-world technique, remedy, something that actually happens, they normally say, like, hey, this is a thing. Here's the supernatural element added to it. But the way Hina brought it up sounded like this shit is normal when it's not. So I'm sort of like, okay, why? But anyways, other than that little tidbit, the rest of the chapter was fine. And of course, huge NOZOMI fan. So let's go. Let's see what she's got to do. Let's see what the training with Kurushi was all about next time. So hope you guys enjoyed. Plug, plug, plug. And we'll see you guys back here next time. Sayonara.